Welcome to the bold analysis. I am just reading the Star newspaper now, and there is a story that they have splashed in the headline about the fact that Raila Odinga is under pressure to call off the demo. That story is going to run on Friday, and that is the last story they will do since they are not doing any publication on Saturday and Sunday, and that will be the weekend newspaper. I want you to listen to that voice here because this is what I've captured from them.
Azimio leader Raila Odinga has confessed to a group of his troops he is under immense internal and external pressure to drop the planned mass action on Monday. Raila spoke just hours after a warning salvo from President William Ruto, telling the opposition enough is enough and pledging to resist what he termed blackmail of his government by Azimio at a monthly night meeting of Luo Nyanza MPs known as Dual. Raila said powerful actors locally and abroad have been exerting pressure on him to abandon street action and disrupt national stability.
And I just want to analyze about it a bit, just want to do a very small recap from that story. And I was just asking, what do you think is the intention of the Star? Immediately there is something called agenda setting theory. What is the agenda for the weekend? That story, however much it's very factual because we're going to look at it, but it's also meant to communicate something, or rather to create a debate over the weekend, is there a possibility of the rally being called off? And now that Raila is under pressure, the supporters, the people, the readers are supposed to consume, and then they're going to ask themselves a very silent question. So what happens if he defies that pressure and holds that mass action? Are there consequences that are coming from the international forces that have emerged from it? And that is, I'm looking at it in terms of just trying to create a discussion over the weekend over possibility of that mass action being called off. Today is Thursday, I'm doing this video. I don't see that as being on table now, and probably, and in this analysis, I'm going to explain why too late, too little. In that exclusive audio, the reporter is talking about a meeting that was held last night, a previous night, where Raila Odinga meeting Dual. What is calling Dual is called Dual. Dual is Luo. For people who can describe, Dual is a place where people meet, especially it was for the elders. So elders will meet and discuss issues pertaining the clan, the community, and also teach. It's just a peer session for people that share ideology, and it was mostly used at the traditional meetings. So in a dual is a meeting that brings together Luo Nyanza leaders, and that is what the reporter rather is referring to. And he said that he is under immense pressure from the local and international forces to call off the Monday demo. Now, this is a very delicate decision that Raila Odinga cannot afford and cannot even think of putting on the table and dangling it in front of the supporters. Since the daggers have been drawn, the debt is set, the hype is being done, and I think people are we are at a point where people are making a decision. One is uncertainty. What exactly is going to happen? Am I going to attend? Am I not going to attend? Will I go to work? Should I not go to work? So those are the discussions that, of course, that are going on, and it will be a very delicate one to pull. What you have to know, and that's what I think we need to bring to people's attention here, is if you've been keen observer, you realize that Raila Odinga has reached a point where either population is controlling him or himself is controlling population. And someone was telling me that it can reach a point where if it starts and it blows out, even Raila might not be in a position to call it off because it's about the people. Now, I want to remind you of two instances. If you remember the second rally in Jacaranda, when he was reading the resolutions, the masses or the people that attended that rally were telling him, State House, Baba, tunataka kwenda State House. And being the swift politician and someone who knows how to manage the population, he said that not now. I am giving Commonwealth and some UN body some time to reign on the matter and ask the president to address the issue of the servers. Then from that moment, he gave them a window that we are not going to State House here and you're going to wait. Now, at that moment, the masses were saying what they want. Number two, in Migori rally, when he was talking about the boycott this, boycott that product, Safaricom, I think, of course, something he said, so I'm not the one now bringing it up. He said, I'll give you directions about boycotting Safaricom amongst other products. The masses told him, Mayai. And maybe he had not thought of saying Mayai, but then he had to say in the microphone, Mayai, Mayai, Mayai. So, I can tell you that it's a very delicate point. In fact, today I was discussing with someone, a subscriber in this channel, and he was just trying to create a very interesting scenario for me here. That this is the truth. In the minds of supporters, everyone is thinking about State House. But from where I'm seated in this analysis, no one can take you to State House. I think you need to be psychologically ready for that, because there are realities to what should be done. Yeah, even though some of us might speak from point of knowledge. But then, into Raila Odinga, he actually doesn't want a very violent protest. He wants a peaceful protest. What I am not sure is whether William Ruto and the Kenya Kwanza team are looking at the Monday protest as peaceful. I don't know. From the way I've been seeing them handling it, the response has pointed to what the speculation here is, that there are going to be some violent scenes, which I don't think I am seeing that. Now, anything so far on calling off the strike would be understood, or rather calling off the demo, would be understood as a handshake and can detonate the supporters. If Raila is to call a press briefing today and say that we are calling it off because on these grounds, I can tell you that his supporters will tell him in the eye that Baba umeenda handshake. Remember, it's not called off for the first time. And I want to just take you back. After the first ever Kamkunji rally in Shauri Moyo, he did one rally, and I remember it was done before 12th December. So on the very 12th December, Raila Odinga and the Azimio team were supposed to hold a parallel Jamhuri Day event in Jacaranda. And it was announced in Kamkunji. But I think a Saturday prior to that, he allegedly received a phone call to meet Biden in United States of America and flew out of the country on Saturday and of course attended the African Leaders Summit in the US. Then the Jacaranda parallel Jamhuri Day event did not go on. Many political observers saw that as if the United States was just trying to talk him out of the protests, and that was a strategy that maybe could have been there as a strategy to cease fire. But what happened? Later on, he came back rejuvenated, and after the whistleblower report, Raila is back in the fold. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and like our video. I want to tell you why it would be premature for Raila Odinga to even think about managing the demo before Monday. You have to manage it on that Monday. You cannot call it off the day before. Because how about if you are talked out of it by genuinely say the said international forces and the president may be sending that team and dispatching that team in current to talk him out of the Monday demo, but then what is promised is not delivered. In fact, reaching that Monday, Kenya Kwanza leaders will then come out to vilify and profile you as a man who is a coward, an empty talker, who cannot put his words to action. I can say, the same people that are saying that the mass action should be called off, or rather Raila should not proceed that mass action, if that is to be done in the interest of this country and the other reason that we put here in terms of the economy, the same leaders will rise on Monday in social media pages, and the middle class is very notorious with this. They'll come and profile Raila Odinga as a man who is just an empty talker. No one will appreciate the fact that maybe he has considered the cause. Now, I want to look at it this way. So, what is the international? What exactly is at stake on Monday? I want to narrow it down to 3. Number 1, it is not a coincidence that on 20th March there is a protest in other countries in Africa. In Africa, there's a protest in Tunisia. In Senegal, I saw the photos that they're very disturbing. I think the opposition politician, rather the politician, the one leading the protest, is complaining about a president who is seeking a second term or some extension of a term against the constitution and the will of the people, and it went very violent, by the way. In Nigeria, Obi is also heading to the protest, and I don't understand why Atiku Abubakar, despite the fact that he was number 2, he is not in the front line in terms of these protests about the results. And in South Africa, Malema is also talking about Ramaphosa coming down, or rather to step down. So what exactly is going on? It is not a coincidence, and I think President William Ruto is scratching the head. What exactly is happening? Or rather, the intelligence trying to intercept what exactly is happening. And let me just put a very clear point that no one seems to be talking about. Do you think that Azimio events are being sponsored from individuals' pockets? Do you think? It's a question that I will not ask beyond it, but look at it that way. Then you will understand why there could be pressure for it to be called off. This thing is well organized. That's it. The other thing is this. The international debtors are worried of the economic shutdown. There are people we owe a lot of money in this country. The IMFs and the World Banks of this world, the Chinas and the South Koreas, Kenya have a problem with debts. So people think if the country is shut, if economy is sabotaged, will the government have a problem fall in the challenge of even servicing their debts? And I can tell you, I think to the layman, we seem to be just focusing on what's happening around our borders. But to the international community, just a glimpse of what is happening, even though I know someone was arguing that if a protest done in Nairobi, maybe they're not just going to collect revenues for a single day and even 1 week or so. But it touches a lot. Is it going to form a ground for government to start arguing that, look here, we have challenge, and so we need that support, this support? Well, there is something that William Ruto will not want. William Ruto will not want Raila to create a crisis where he is supposed to be brought to table, and maybe ultimately that might come to pass. Now, I am seeing the discussions of treason, the ICC cause being dangled, and the legal team are also worried, and even family, of what are the implications of what can happen on Monday. If you're not worried, then you're not. The fear of uncertainty is something that is in all of us. I listened to, who is this? P.N. Lumumba yesterday in Citizen, and I was a bit disappointed. As a man who we really expect, and when I was watching, I was expecting he was coming here with solutions. I think he started that desk sensationalizing the whole thing, and just seems to be kukaza too much and just throwing emotional statements packaged with some very big vocabularies without offering, according to me, a tangible solution. In fact, it was saying that teachers appointed in some countries that Raila would be arrested. And, I was like, I was expecting then these are the guys that were going to give it direction. Now that they boast that in the past they have been intervening. I didn't see a solution. I saw a man who was just sitting there and taking the national platform to sensationalize the whole thing, just trying to cut across. I was a bit disappointed, honestly. I don't think that's what we need. For those who want to masquerade here as those people who are sitting as arbiters, from the word go, because they're saying they have been trying to arbitrate, you should first look like that arbiter. Even when you talk, you should talk like the Kofi Annans of our hour. But you cannot take a political stand, and you know very well that you have a political affiliation, then you pretend to sit in the middle as if you are giving a solution. I think we need more than what we saw. So in terms of this, what's your honest assessment? Do you think it can be called off? From where I'm seated, not before Monday. Maybe it can be called off after Monday, but not before Monday. Let's meet in the next.